We're going to talk about determining position. All right. When you want to determine position, position is defined relative to what's called a reference point and using reference directions. So when you're defining a position of an object or a place, you need three things. Okay, you need a reference point, you need a reference direction, and you also need a distance. And you're going to see these example here now. Okay, so here we have some maps of a city. Okay, and sometimes we don't use this a whole lot in my class, but let's say we're here at City Hall. Okay, generally a plus sign will indicate movement in the direction of your reference point, and a minus sign will represent direction away from, or movement away from your reference point. So for example, if I went, each one of these lines is, in this one it's 250, but 250 then 500, and you see the negative sign because we went away from City Hall. But in City Hall is our origin in this picture. But we don't use that a whole lot. All right, but talking about position as a vector. All right, remember that vectors have two things. They have size and they have magnitude. Okay, and when we talk about this in terms of position, the vector or the size or the magnitude is going to be your distance from your reference point, and the direction will be whatever direction you went. Okay, so position as a vector can be described that way using size and magnitude. Be aware that, for example, if we were going to go from City Hall to the bus station, if these were streets, we couldn't go in a straight line. So sometimes objects that do not move in straight lines will need two reference directions. You might need to say, all right, you go east 500 meters to the library, then go north, 750 meters or whatever. So you need two reference directions. But let's use some examples, okay? So if we want to describe the position of the library, okay, we could say that the library is east of City Hall. Now, okay, we gave our reference point, which was City Hall, and we gave our direction, which was east. The one thing that was missing was the distance, okay? So if we wanted to use our three requirements for giving exact position, we would need to also add the distance. So it would be correctly stated as the library is 500 meters east of City Hall. That way we have our distance, our reference point, and our reference direction. Okay? Now, let's talk about displacement. Okay? Now, displacement is the difference between the starting point and your ending point. All right? And the change in the object's position is its displacement. It should be noted that displacement is a vector. Okay, it has size and direction. Okay, so for example, if I were at City Hall and I went to the library, I went a distance of 500 meters. I just gave you my distance, just 500 meters. If I wanted to give you my displacement, I would need a size and a direction. So I would say I went 500 meters east, because that way I've given you how far I went and my direction. So let's look at some examples. Each one of these blocks is 500 meters. So let's say, for example, I walked south from City Hall. At this point, my distance I've traveled is 500 meters. Okay? If I went this way, if I continued this way, I've gone another 500 meters, and now the total distance that I've traveled is 1,000 meters. I went 500 meters here, and then another 500 meters to here. Okay? Now let's say I went up again. Okay, now I'm here. I've traveled a total of 1,500 meters. 500, 1,000, 1,500 meters. Okay, that's 1,500 meters I would have traveled. However, even though I've traveled that far, my displacement would be 500 meters to the west, because my displacement here again would be 500 meters to the west, because that is the distance and direction from my starting point. So even though I'd gone 1,500 meters distance, my displacement is only 500 meters west, because I'm only 500 meters now from City Hall. If I went all the way here, now I've gone around this whole block, I've traveled a total of 2,000 kilometers, or 2,000 meters, but my displacement is 0, because there is no difference between where I started and where I finished. So my displacement again is 0. I'm in the same place as I finished. Okay. If you have any questions on that, rewind the video, watch it again, and make sure you understand the difference between distance and displacement. Displacement is a vector, so it must have size and direction.